Hey everyone, welcome back to the Team Empire podcast. You're here with your host Shannon, and I've got someone who I have probably been needing to get on for a wee while now. We've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to go into all the different things. It's IFBB Bikini Pro and Olympian, Sheena Jayne. How are you, Sheena?
Hi Shannon, I am doing well, and I think it's definitely way overdue that we catch up. So yeah, I'm excited to have a chat.
Yes, I'm so sorry. It's probably been like, I've got these veterans and I'm like, okay, I've got to get to the veterans. What am I doing with all these current people? But it's so good to have you on. And like I said, we've got so much to chat about because your journey is like huge and you've done so much and you're just amazing. And we're just going to unpack it, babe. So, but first, let's just talk about now because you've got a little one in the bun, a bun in the oven is rather what I'm trying to say. And you're a busy girl. You've got so much going on. But how is life at the moment? Like what is going on right now? What does a day look like for you just at the moment?
So I'm very busy. I'm 26 weeks pregnant with number 2, and my number 1 is not so little anymore. She's 21 months, so like full toddler mode. So things are very busy. I'm an online coach. I have a wonderful big office at home, which was priority in our new house, so that I can carve out my time for work. But it's quite a juggle at the moment, obviously looking after Sienna, and I've got 3 days where she's at daycare, which are like more work oriented. I also fit in the gym, make that happen, sometimes with her, sometimes without her. So yeah, it's very busy, but at the same time, I'm grateful that I can work for myself, can work from home, can make it work, can do my power hours while she sleeps or whatever I need to do to keep wheels turning and keep doing what I love as well as being a mum.
Love that. All about that balance with, no matter how hard it is, you're making it happen. Nice. Yeah, yeah. I love it. Let's go all the way back. Let's start at the beginning, and then we'll end up where we are now, because then we'll do a full circle. So tell me all about it, babe, because I haven't followed bodybuilding since you started. Like, you started before I was even into it, so I want to know all about it. And I want to know how you got into it. What year did you start competing, and what actually got you into it at the very beginning? What was the turning factor?
So my first show was the Waikato Champs in 2013, and at the time, my boyfriend at the time wanted to do a show and just sort of talked me into doing it with him. I had been a dancer for 23 years, mostly ballet. I did like competitive equestrian to a really high level as well as a teenager. So like I had those sporting things, those individual pursuits that I grew up with. And then I got into fitness through group fitness instructing. So I was a Les Mills instructor, which sort of led me to that fitness scene. And then, ended up doing a six-week prep for my first show. So it was pretty much the physique I'd built from, teaching body pump and, all my dancing and stuff. And yeah, I came fourth in my first show and I did not smile. And Mo was like, girls, a smile goes a long way, because I was like, but then I won the nationals 3 weeks later, and that was like really much the start of things.
Oh, that's so cool, babe. And have you competed like every year since then? And did you get the bug and you were just like, I'm going in hard?
So I won the nationals that year, and battled Brie Tarfai for the pro card. She won her pro card. I got selected to go in a team to the Arnold Amateur in Ohio. So a few months later, I went to Ohio, competed in the Arnold Amateur, and came second in my class of like 50 girls. And I think that's when I really was like, whoa, I could be actually really good at this. Like going and competing, I was only a couple of shots away from a pro card there, because the girl that beat me won her pro card in the overall. 2 weeks later, it was the NZ Pro-Am. So I actually went to Hawaii for my honeymoon on the way home from Ohio. The guy I married and unmarried. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But came home, did the Pro-Am and won my pro card there. That year, Mo had flown over like Ashley Kaltwasser. Was it? I'm not sure if it was India Polina, definitely Stacey Alexander, but Ashley Kay was like there the night that I won my pro card in New Zealand. That was a whole crazy, like, what? And yeah, so that was March 2015. 14, my fourth show, I won my pro card. So I've kind of probably skipped through some questions to get to there. But yeah, I basically, from there, I did a little mini build and competed in America later at the end of that year in my first like international pro show.
Nice, babe. I love that. That's so cool because you were just telling me before, you've done 36 shows. So only 4 until you became a pro?
Yeah, so it was my fourth show when I won my pro card, and that was also my pro debut because I came fifth in the pro lineup that same night. Basically took my overall medal off, came back on stage with Ashley Kaltwasser, and that was how my career started. There might have been her first Olympia win. She won 3 in a row, right? And so it was right amongst that time when she was like queen of bikini. And she's still queening bikini, isn't she? But you know what I mean? Yeah. So it all happened really quickly. At the same time, I was in the process of finishing all my qualifications to start my own personal training and nutrition coaching business. And I quit being a lawyer and started PTing at Les Mills and doing all of that all at the same time. So it was like this total life shift. And like next minute, I'm a professional athlete and had this massive opportunity in front of me.
That's so cool, babe. Do you ever miss or do you ever think about what life would be like if you just were sticking with being a lawyer and like just doing that and fitness on the side? Or would you
miserable. I couldn't have I've always been like an overachiever and I thrived at university studying law. I did the honours program. I did, finish the top 5% of my class in first year, blah, blah, blah. But the actual being a lawyer in practice made me miserable, being like stuck at a desk, high stress for something you're not passionate about. Yeah. And I wasn't willing to live a life where I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. It just didn't feel right. So
that makes sense. But you're in the right place. I mean, everything worked out as it should. Talk to me about so Olympia. You've been to Olympia twice, is that right?
I've been to Olympia twice. The first year was 2016, and I was the first bikini pro from New Zealand to ever go to the Olympia, which is kind of cool, like saying that you sort of put NZ on the Olympia stage. And then I went again in 2017, and then 2018 I missed out by 1 point on going for the third time. So it was a bit of a thing, that one. Yeah.
Nice, babe. What was it like? What was the first time like for you? And what was the difference between the two? Because they're only a year apart. What was it like for you?
The first time I won my qualification in my 5th pro show. So I was still pretty new as a pro, right? I'd go on the big stage, the big Olympia stage. Just being there was like, no one from my country has even done this before. It was really just like insane to be there and amongst all of that. In the next year, I did 11 shows in 11 months to qualify for my second Olympia. So when I won the New York Pro in May 2017, that was my qualification. That was literally my 11th show in 11 months. I hadn't stopped competing that whole way through, and I got a bunch of seconds. And then finally, came 5th at Pittsburgh, which is amazing to come top 5 there, and then came 1st at New York 2 weeks later. So that in itself was like this massive grind to get to my second Olympia. And to be honest, my second Olympia, although I finished 13th in the world, which is, pretty good, I sort of bombed out from what I produced at New York because my body was just tired. Like my body just said, nah, I was really flat, didn't look anything like, the replica that I was trying to bring from New York. And also made the mistake of doing a photo shoot the day before, which was with live flames. So my body was really hot and stressed, and just lots of those kind of mistakes that you can make. So I would say I never even got close to bringing anything like my potential on the actual Olympia stage. Yeah. So if I had have brought the look that won the New York Pro to the Olympia, you know, people were going, oh, you know, you're definitely going to be top 5. You just won the New York Pro. Like that was kind of a lot of pressure. But you also have to take risks in bodybuilding, and you can't just go and go and go. And yeah, my body was just tired and said nah. So that was like, of course, disappointing, but that's also the top of the sport, right? I did what I had to do to get there. And I mean, again, still 13th in the world's not bad. But yeah.
That's amazing. And the New York Pro's huge. Like, that's so cool to win that show. Like, it's a big one. I know Pittsburgh's huge, but New York's just as fucking sick in my opinion. I love it. Talk to me about doing 11 back-to-back prep. Like, would you, obviously you wouldn't recommend that to anyone else. What if someone was so keen that I was like, I'm gonna go fucking do it? What would you say to that person?
Look, if you can't just go and expect the best from your body. It's not going to happen. You're not a machine. You can't produce that level of physique year round. I obviously tried, and like as I said, it didn't really pop off at the end there at the Olympia. But yeah, I did have a longer gap in there, and then a bunch of shows like really close together. So it's not like it was a show a month. You know, there was a couple of months there, which is like mini downtime. But yeah, like definitely as a coach, I would recommend taking that extended time that you need when you need it, to be able to make the improvements and also stay healthy and keep bringing a top level physique, because a tired, fatigued, overworked, burnt out body is never going to look as good on stage as one that's had the adequate rest and stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You live and you learn, hey, and you did that, and now you're a coach. You can give that give that to everyone. And you said you got a few seconds in that same year, and then the next year you come back and you didn't quite make it, and you haven't been back since. Like, tell me about does that leave a little hole in you? Like, tell me about, because I know you're competitive. I know you're like, you know, balls to the wall. So does that leave something in you you need to fill still? Like, tell me about that.
When I stepped away from competing, so I had done 33 pro shows in 4.5 years. I just missed out on the Olympia, qualifying for the Olympia that third time by 1 point. And I knew that if I wanted to make the level up to keep being competitive at the top, I would need to take a significant period of time off to grow my glutes. Right. That was basically the one thing with my physique. I just needed a bunch more mass on my glutes. You can't do that competing in 11 shows in 11 months, you know, like there's no way. You have to take the time off. At the time, I was like 30 years old, so I'm thinking, like, do I have that many years ahead of me? I was also getting the itch to do more study, to evolve my coaching more, and just really like feeling like I wanted to live other areas of life. I, knew that I wanted to eventually have kids and have a family and stuff, and it didn't feel like the life I was living, although it was amazing. Was like, I've been doing it for 5 years hardcore, and it was incredible, but life wasn't evolving to give me the fullness of life that I wanted, right?
Yeah.
I was also living in LA. I had a professional athlete visa, so I was living there for 3 years, and like that visa was going to run out. I was going to have to either try and get 3 more years there or make the decision to move home to New Zealand. And at the end of the day, New Zealand won, and my heart was saying go home the loudest. So it would have been hard to keep trying to compete from living back here. Like, that's part of why I moved to America, because I had that opportunity to do so, which was amazing. But yeah, I came back to New Zealand, went back to university, did postgraduate psychology studies for a couple of years, and met my partner, got to spend a few years with my dad before we lost him suddenly in an accident. So, like, in hindsight, I'm so glad that I came back when I did, because if I was still living in America, I would have missed out on like that special time as well. But yeah, basically life has changed a whole lot since then. But one thing that hasn't changed is I'm still training. Like, I've never stopped.
Yeah.
I didn't think there would be any itch to get back on stage for like the first few years, but in the last year I've been like, it'd be really cool to get back on stage after having 2 kids and be like, yeah, I can do that. And you can do that, anyone can do that. So yeah, I've been thinking maybe the Masters Olympia would be something cool to line up, but I'm 36 now and you've got to be 40, so I don't know if I want to wait that long. So yeah, I have been thinking lately, I would like to do it again, like maybe definitely once. So just maybe don't count your girl out just yet.
You know how pumped I'm about that.
I've still got to get this baby out in February next year and obviously first focus on that postpartum journey. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely like one more just because I can in there. Yeah.
Nice, babe. I love that so much. And I feel like you've got it too. I'm just like, she's just not done yet. I feel like there's more. There's another one in there, man. And it's cool, like, and motivating to see all these other women that are mothers that are on the Olympia stage. Like a lot of the, like, especially wellness, a lot of those women are like 40 and then maybe just over 40 and they've got heaps of kids and kids are adults and stuff. Does that motivate you a little bit? Because it wasn't quite the same way, like when you started competing. They seem to be a little bit younger and now they're getting older and more developed. Like, does that kind of motivate you a bit as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in bikini, there's been like people that come back after kids. India Polino came back soon after having her boy. Angelica's obviously just come back after having two, and she's 40. I mean, obviously, like from New Zealand, it's a lot harder to like just jump back on that pro circuit. I don't think I would like catch the bug to do it again, like, you know, do a lot of it again. But I feel like I could probably beat my best version if I dedicated myself to it. I don't think there's any reason why I couldn't, even though I'm 36. I don't believe I'm over the hill. And yeah, I just think that kind of opportunity to challenge myself and have something that I do for myself. My partner's not seen me compete, and obviously it would be cool for my daughter to see me doing that as well. She loves to come into the gym with mummy and we do muscles. She's learning about muscles. So I think even just having her as part of that journey would be cool.
That'd be so cool, babe. We'll revisit that at the end of this pod, but it's just really cool to get that out there. And I think a lot of people would be like, oh my God, Sheena's back. Like, just settle down. Like, she'll let us know when it's going to happen. But like she says, got baby first. So it's just really cool, babe. I love to hear that. Love that it's still in there somewhere, you know. What was your favorite pro show? Did you have a favorite, or was there one that you missed out on that you wanted to do? Or like, talk to me about that.
My win at the New York Pro was probably the highlight of my career. Like, obviously, it's one of those top, like, three sort of in terms of prestige. It's like the Olympia, the Arnold, Pittsburgh, and New York, and that's really the pinnacle. So that was a really incredible achievement, and like the fact that it was my, you know, 11th show in 11 months, having just like grinded my way around the world. I competed in Hong Kong, Italy, America, all over the place before that. That was a real like triumph. Obviously the Olympia is incredible to be part of, and just making it there, particularly as someone from New Zealand, is like amazing. And the Arnolds as well, I did like 4 or 5 Arnold Classics in Australia. And so they had that each year for quite a while there. And I also did the Bikini International in Ohio, which was in my last season, 2018. I got invited to the Invitational and came 8th there, which is, again, pretty amazing when you've been only 16 from the whole world have been invited to go and do it. So I think there's obviously other shows in there that were, you know, fun and great for different reasons. Obviously, my first pro win in Orlando was special as well. But yeah, those like invitational shows are really cool to be part of as well.
Really special, hey. Well, what about bad shows? Was there any shows that like everything fucking went wrong, or like, you know, you almost missed coming out on set? Like, just any of those? And surely there's one.
Well, there actually is one. I competed in Russia one year, and I had no one spoke English. Like, trying to like go to a store and get the food that I needed there was literally no one in the whole shop that would speak English. At the hotel, I had to boil my sweet potatoes in the kettle because there was no facilities. Like, it was just so like unhospitable in terms of like what the athletes needed. And then my tan was way too dark. Like, literally like looked like I'd fallen in a bucket of charcoal, and I had to kind of like shower the whole thing off last minute on the day of the show and like redo it. I was just like literally, it was like, wow, everything's against me here. And yeah, the judges didn't love me there either, which I was one of like only a couple of Olympians, so I really should have placed better than I did, but I was just like, wow, why did I come here?
Yeah, we took that one off the list and then
yeah.
Do you think that like what is because I've heard like European shows are really different. Are they quite different than America?
The judging can be quite different in terms of just like following the same sort of look that they're honoring. Often the European look is like more muscular, more jacked than what is actually doing well in the States, which is where we look.
Yeah.
I competed in Italy, and that was a really cool show. So like, going there was great. So yeah, I think it's probably a little bit about where you are in the organization and all of that sort of stuff, what sort of show they're putting on. But yeah, the looks definitely have been a wee bit different as well.
Yeah, I feel like that in Asia as well. Asia's a little bit different again too. I like the Asia look though, but it's like you've kind of got to keep it to America, guys. Like that's where the pinnacle is. So, but it's cool that they're all different, and it's good that you've done a bit of everything. You've been to Asia as well. Crazy. Who was your coach when you were competing, or did you have multiple coaches? Like, did you go between a couple of people?
So when I did my first shows and when I turned pro, Jake Campus was my nutritionist.
Right.
I basically always did my own training right from the start. I was just starting as a personal trainer and basically thought there was nothing wrong with learning along the way and like building my bikini body. So that's what I set out to do. I worked with Bombshell, which is an American team, in 2016 for a bit. That was like sort of my prep leading into the show that I won my first Olympia, into that Olympia. And I finished up with them and coached myself for a bit in there, really just wanting to like learn and grow myself. And so I was self-coached for a lot in between there and did a little bit with Kim Odo, Odo Jules in 2018. So my last season, I worked with him for a bit. In hindsight, I think like, if I had the right coach, I definitely could have benefited from, for example, the person who told me to take a damn off season and like, but yeah, I learned so much from what I figured out by myself along the way as well. With posing, I had one 30-minute lesson in the back of Extreme with like Kylie, who's now Kylie Ventura. I can't remember her maiden name. Yeah. And Bo was kind of like poking his head in the back, giving some instructions as well. That was before my first nationals in 2013. And then I basically did it myself.
Yes.
But I'd been a ballerina for 23 years. So like I brought a lot of it was very natural, and like I studied, what the new dance was, which is bikini posing, and yeah.
Nice. I love it. And you're a posing coach too as well now, aren't you? As well as a standard prep coach.
Yeah, I'm posing in prep.
Love it. Nice, babe. Look at where we are now, doing it all yourself, and you come out the other side as a coach. I love it, babe. It's so good. You know how like there's always in our amateur league, there's always like a bunch of girls, like Rochelle, for example, who are like battling to get their pro card, and there's always a few of them. There's always a couple. We've had like Lou Mullen, we've had Jamie Bloomfield, we've had all of that. And they're all going to go pro at some stage. Christelle de Klerk, all of them. Did you have anyone that you were battling at the time? Like, was there any other girls that were just like the same girls at nationals all the time that you were just trying to battle it out?
Well, not really, because I only did one nationals.
Oh, yeah,
and
true.
That was the degree one, and I know she'd been doing it for a wee bit, but that was obviously my first year. And then I didn't even get to do another nationals because it was the Pro-Am 6 months later when I won my pro card, and like Amy Chitty was a tall girl who was like, we did the Arnold Amateur together, so people sort of thought it was out of us to win the pro card. Katia and Olia, obviously most of you know Katia. Olia, I can't remember her surname, but they both won their pro card like the time after me, and so they were like runners up when I won. But there definitely wasn't as many girls then, like particularly of like the top couple that were gonna win the pro cards. And I didn't hang around long because I won the pro cards, so didn't get the chance to do it, you know, like some of those girls that have been like top couple for like 2, 3, even more years. So
Yeah, I like that though. I kind of want that to be for myself, like a Rochelle journey. I wouldn't, it's like, it's great to get it early and like it means you're great and you've done a great, like Kate as well. So many people have got their pro cards quick, but I want to be on the amateur stage for a bit. I want my family to come to shows, be a little bit more of a battler. But you never know what will happen when it happens. And who knows if I'll ever go pro. We'll just see how it goes. But it's just a cool journey and it's cool to have like the same girls and we get to watch them all. And I actually completely forgot. Katia went to Olympia too. Were you guys there at the same time or was it different years?
We had 1 year there at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. 2 Kiwis at the same show, but you had the first show and then obviously both of you were at the second one that you did. Is that right? Right. Nice. You still got it. You were just the only one, the only bikini New Zealander that got up there first. That's so big. I'd put that on my Instagram bio straight up. But I had an Instagram question. I'm just going to drop these into random spots because some people had a few questions. You'll know who asked this one, but who was your first sponsor? And do you have any sponsors now? I know I already answered that. You answered that question to me earlier, but I just thought I was asked as well. But who was your first sponsor?
Oh man, Body Science was definitely one of my first sponsors. I think I might have been sponsored by Extreme Nutrition for like very briefly before that as well.
Awesome.
I worked with Optimum Nutrition, which is obviously a huge brand. I was with them for a few years, did a few Arnold Expos with them. And I was sponsored by BPI Sports for a little bit there, and Gaspari Nutrition was the other one that I worked with for years. I did the Olympia Expo with them and stuff.
Yeah. Do you still do you take any of the supplements and stuff, or are you not really stressed about it, especially while you're pregnant?
I still use protein powder. I still use BCAAs. That's really my 2 sports supplements that I still use. But I'm not currently sponsored by anyone. Yeah. I'm just trying to find ones that I enjoy at the moment, and also like looking for cleaner ones. Like there's quite a few protein powders that are like banned substance tested and stuff, which I like to use, especially when you're pregnant, wanting to make sure you're not putting any random bad stuff into you.
For sure, absolutely. Well, hey, if you make a comeback, I'm sure the sponsorships are flying in. Sheena's back, get on it, quick. But Mike asked that question, and I thought you might catch on to that, but of course he did. And then, so I was going to ask you this as well, because I feel like from watching bikini and Bikini Olympia, all of that, the big girls and whatever, it's changed a lot over the years. Do you think? Has it changed much in your opinion? And do you like the way that it's changed, like just the physique and how the judging is and stuff like that?
Yeah, when I was first pro, that we definitely went through a phase where it was like the bigger, more jacked shoulders were okay and a thing, which I did love because I went on this mad mission to build my shoulders and did so very well. And but those shoulders were even a bit much then. Sometimes I had to like not pump them up, etc. And I definitely sort of like enjoyed that look because I like training shoulders hard, but the look's gone much more towards like a streamlined, more maintainable, more marketable kind of look now. The legs also were a little bit bigger, like when I started, like a little bit more quads, a little bit more athletic legs, but then it went like clearly towards that streamlined look, and I had to do like a mad mission of like downsizing my quads because I had naturally decent quads from all the years of ballet. I overall think that look has gone in a way that is definitely sustainable and promotes something that lots of people could achieve, and I know that's what they've been trying to do with bikini. Mm-hmm. And the wellness division coming in has sort of like put bikini in a little box and said, you stay here, like the legs can't be too big, this can't be too big. And the bikini judging at the Olympia this year was really big on that as well. Like the judges were really big on balance, symmetry, everything being proportionate. You know, Laura Lee finally won because everything fit together. The glutes weren't overpowering. And yeah, if you kind of see where the judges are going, it's like that very much balanced physique where everything fits nicely and nothing's like too out there.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're 100% on the money there, and it's just fine tuning over the years. Hey, but we were going to talk about this later, but we're going to bring it up now. Let's talk about Olympia, because you watched it, of course, as you do, and you saw Lauralee win, of course. What did you think about Lauralee winning? Are you a fan of hers? And just be mindful, there's a lot of Lauralee fans that listen, because I'm not her biggest fan, and I sometimes just drop things in, and then people are like, "Hey," I'm like, "Fuck." But what did you think about her winning? Like, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I loved Lauralee winning. I was actually friends with Lauralee, like I'm still friends with her. We hung out and trained together when I lived in LA. We like went out and ate food together, and so like, you know, not just in the gym, friends. So yeah, like seeing her go from, like, she's been doing it the whole time since I stopped, like literally going back. I sounds like her personal life has had some interesting twists and turns, which I think have like got her some attention that maybe, I don't know, I guess just has nothing to do with what she's bringing on the bodybuilding stage. Like if you see her evolution, she's very much like always been evolving, and as I mentioned, like this year everything just fit together. Nothing was sticking out, the glutes weren't too big, nothing was too loud, and she presented herself beautifully. She's been resilient. She's came back with a good attitude every year. She's obviously won the Arnold 3 times as well. So it's like she's had those big wins and just never quite won the Olympia. So, you know, even if I didn't have a personal connection with her, I think it's just really cool to see that story of resilience and her actually coming out on top. She looked, amazing. It's incredible that Ashley Kay is still up there. Like, obviously, she's the GOAT. She's just an incredible athlete who has obviously stood the test of time since even before my day. She took a few years off in between there, but, you know, for the most part, and obviously she's the winningest bodybuilder in the history of all time, which is crazy. Jazzy, I love seeing her up in the top, because that was like sort of the Cinderella story where, you know, her goal was just to make it back to the Olympia and like maybe to make, you know, top 10, but she wasn't even sure if that was on her radar for this season. And to see her coming top 3, she's obviously got a new coach, Neil Catch, who I'm friends with him as well. So like I know a lot of these people personally, which makes it even more sort of special seeing the stories unfold. Amy, who came fourth at the Olympia, I don't know her as much because she's obviously new since, you know, I wasn't competing when she was. We didn't cross over, but she's got a beautiful physique, and I watched the feedback from Tyler Mannion, which is obviously like the official judges lowdown, and one thing he mentioned, which I thought was super relevant, is like all of the top 6 were so close together. Like all of those physiques are incredible, and I think that's the thing that like we have to emphasize when you're looking at that level of the sport. Like literally every single athlete on the Olympia stage has got an incredible physique, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's subjective, and it's the judges choosing out of like the apple, the orange, the banana, the strawberry, the kiwi fruit, which one's best, right? But all of those top girls are just like amazing and really nailing that like balanced, symmetrical, proportionate muscle, but not too much, lean, but not too lean, getting that whole juggle right. But yeah, it's always cool for me seeing the ones that I competed with that are still up there doing it. Angelica, Issa, like some of those girls were back in my Olympias and my Arnolds and stuff. So yeah, and obviously Lauralee, like my year that I just missed out was she won the Tampa Pro. So she was like just taking off then, and just, you know, seeing her just year after year evolving has been really cool, which at the end of the day, that's what bodybuilding is all about, right?
100%. It's cool to see, eh? Those journeys are nuts. Do you think Ash K will ever get it again?
I don't know. Like, I mean, it would be absolutely crazy to see her. It's just crazy even seeing her just punching in the top 5 every year since she's come back. Like, what? Yeah, like I don't know. I don't know. It would be crazy to see her get it. I would love to see her posing just free up a bit more. this Ashley K's posing just really gets me a little bit, because I just think her physique could even look so much better if her posing just had like a 15% evolution, right? But yes, some of the other girls, like Laura Lee's posing in comparison is just like pure like artistry, right? It's just beautiful, graceful. Yeah, so I no, literally would be insane to see her win the game.
Yeah, she keeps getting second, so she's not far off, hey? And it's like it's possible, but a lot of people are thinking that maybe it's done. But I mean, she's so close; it could happen. She's been doing it for so freaking long. Who is? And the other thing is, she's married to the game, right? She's not ever had kids. She's not ever got married. She's not ever done anything sort of outside of bodybuilding, and she just loves it so much. So it's kind of almost heartbreaking if she doesn't get it again, because you're like, come on, she's got to have something out of this, you know. But 50 pro wins, she just got her 50th. That's fucking mental. So good on her. She's already made history. So who is your favorite Olympian?
Ashley Kay and like India Polino, Stacey Alexander, Steph Maho, those were kind of like the big names when I was coming through and up. So yeah, those were really like the girls I was looking up to.
Yeah. And like, are you a fan of Jen Dory, or are you kind of like, oh, it was kind of nice to not have her this year just to see what would happen, you know?
Well, I think she's lovely as a person. She was another one that like was getting started that same year as Laura Lee, which was like in my last sort of season. So I haven't really competed with her a lot, only once at the Tampa. She very much brings that like pretty little package, like what the judges were rewarding, and it was like her first year winning was a very clear, like, we don't want anything sticking out. We don't want like big shoulders. We don't want major, you know, over the top glutes. So I think she definitely, her physique made a statement with that. But she doesn't have my favorite physique. But yeah, she's a great champion as well, and she has been.
Yeah, 100%. And do you watch the wellness as well, or are you not so much into wellness, or do you like it for a change up? Yeah.
I follow it because I coach some wellness girls, so I need to be on top of the look and what's going on. But I don't love it the same way I love bikini, because of course bikini's like what I did, and like personally knowing so many people, and you know, knowing bikini inside out, back to front and upside down means that I guess that's just like my favorite, probably always will be.
100%. It's got to be. It's in there. It's in your soul. Let's go back. We'll come back to competing. I know we can talk about it all day, but let's talk about motherhood, because I'm not a mother. I never plan on having children personally myself. So I love talking to you mothers, especially competing mums, or have been competing mum, anything that even if you fit fitness into your life, I'm like, how do you do that? So talk to me about it. Like, how did motherhood change you as a person? Did it physically change you? And like, are you a whole different person since being a mum? And like, how do you stay fit and active while juggling everything?
I wouldn't say a whole different person, but definitely from like the bodybuilding Sheena, who had to have a lot of structure. I have the motherhood lesson and becoming like flexible and, you know, being able to adapt, because you really do have to go with the flow and allow things to be a beautiful chaos sometimes, because that's just what it's like. But I've definitely learned to be more present and like really finding like a new balance of like working and being a mum and like making that all fitness. I know is definitely harder for many mums to fit in, and I definitely had periods where it was harder for me to fit it in as well. Being an athlete, I like to say like I'm still an athlete. Just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean I'm suddenly disabled, right? So you know, I trained the whole way through my first pregnancy. I literally trained until a couple of days before I had her, and I went back to the gym a week and a half later, and I had her in the carrier on my chest, and so I did that for 15 weeks. Got back into training probably 4 times a week with her in the carrier for 15 weeks until she got too tall and I could no longer actually like bend my body in half, and she had to go on the pram, and that didn't go as well, taking her in the pram to the gym for a while there. So I always managed to kind of, once I got back to the gym, which I had literally like 2 weeks off in total, worked back up to 4 times a week, and I've kept training basically 4 times a week the the whole way through this first like couple of years. It's for my mental health as much as my physical, it's not just about building the body or keeping the body or whatever, but training has its own role obviously through pregnancy, like when your body's changing so much, staying strong and being able to help your body get through the challenge of pregnancy by being fit, strong, all of that. Like I'm carrying around an extra 12 kilos right now, plus my 12.5 kilo toddler that I have to carry some of the time. Like if I wasn't strong, I just think that would be really a lot more challenging. But yeah, so training has definitely always been a pillar for me to keep in my life. And as I said, I kind of would love to be able to focus on it just a little bit more. Like after, I think once I've got 2 kids kind of settled into daycare routines or something, maybe I would be able to squeeze in a couple more sessions for myself to focus on it even more.
Yeah, nice, babe. You're doing so well. It's so inspiring. I bet a lot of mums listening will be like, yes, like I need to do that, or like, speak to me. But what about food? Okay, food's a big one because I feel I coach a lot of mums too, and I feel like they forget to eat. Like they feed their children, they do this. They'd rather do everything else besides eating and like fueling the body. But it needs to be done, right? You're a coach, you'll be able to talk all the way through it. But do you plan your meals? Do you eat when you can? Like how do you fuel your body?
And like as someone who has all the knowledge and coaches nutrition, like I have all the tools, I know what choices I need to make. While I've been pregnant and I've been really sick, I've been like, forced to not make the best choices sometimes, like because all I could eat was bread and pasta. And that to me, like that's been awful, like during pregnancy, not being able to eat well, because like I appreciate if you're not eating well-balanced meals and enough colors of the rainbow and all of that stuff, like you're gonna feel like shit. So I've had, I guess, a valuable lesson in like the other side of the coin, right? Like if you're not eating well and fueling your body with all the good stuff, you're probably not going to feel so good. But yeah, I try and eat regular meals and get the protein in, eat all the colors of the rainbow, all of that stuff that I would recommend my clients to do. But as someone who coaches mums as well, I know that it's like so easy to, feed the kids first, prioritize everything for everyone else and not prioritize yourself. I think as a mum, that's something I have been able to do really well because I know how important it is. Like if I'm not ensuring that I'm my best self, how could I be the best mum that I can be, right? It's like fill your own cup so that you can pour into others, that whole thing. So the regular exercise, nourishing my body well, and like taking the time out for myself has been the kind of the things that have kept me grounded, I guess, as a mum. And like those are the coaching of the pillars of my coaching, Move, Nourish, Be. So that's literally me brought to life. But if you're not doing that for yourself, then like mums can get really burnt out and just in a bad place of not taking proper care of themselves.
Yeah, 100%. And then it can reflect mentally and stuff too, eh? It's just a big challenge, like all round. And you just don't want that. You just want mums to look after themselves because they do so much for everyone else. And it's just like, look after you, please, first. It's so important, Are you taking on clients at the moment? So if any mums are listening, they're like, shit, I could do with a bit of help. Like, are you taking on clients for that kind of like lifestyle type of thing as well at the moment?
Yeah, I am. I have capacity for competitors, and like I only really want to work with around like 15, 20 at the very most girls. I like to like quality over quantity with that. I've probably got space for like 5 to 10 athletes for next year. And yeah, my Evolve coaching, which is my holistic mind and body coaching, that would be perfect for the mums, for anyone else who's wanting guidance with their movement, nourishing, being lifestyle. Then yeah, I am taking on clients.
There you go, guys. If you need something like a hand, just reach out and see if it's for you. Just reach out to Sheena on Instagram. Instagram's probably the best place to get in touch with you, eh?
Yeah, Instagram's good, or my website, sheenajayne.co.nz. It's got lots of info and stuff there.
Nice, cool. Thanks, babe. We'll talk about your coaching as we go through, posing all of that too. But just if any of the mamas out there want to jump in now, that's how you do it. I have got an Instagram question, so we're just going to throw that in there too. Talking about you living in the States, someone asked about how you went about getting a residency, and you said it was like an athlete. Like, tell us about that. Like, Was it like something that you could do at the time? Is it different now? Tell us about how you got your residency in USA.
So yeah, I had a professional athlete visa, which the official name for it, I was an alien with exceptional abilities. So if you're an alien of America, like from another country, and you have exceptional abilities in like sporting or whatever, you can apply to get one of these visas. I think it's called an O1. And yeah, so I had to get supporting letters from magazines that had published me. I had a letter from Steve Weinberger, who's one of the head judges of the Olympia, from Robin Chang from the IFBB, basically letters from a bunch of influential people in the industry, basically saying that I would be of benefit to America if I moved there. So I got this visa.
Nice, babe. That's so cool. And did you love the experience? Was it for you? Because I like America's probably quite different for a lot of Kiwis, but did you enjoy it? Where were you? LA? Was it LA?
I was in LA. I loved it. I lived my dream. I moved to LA. I bought a Range Rover, which blew up. Yeah, like I trained at Gold's Gym next to Arnold, like just was like right in amongst a really cool atmosphere there. And yeah, like the personal growth that I experienced and spreading my wings and going there by myself with 3 suitcases was like, you just couldn't have got that life experience from anything but that, right?
That's crazy. That's so goals. I think everyone would love to do that now. And it's like so cool that you've got that in there. You've done it. It's in the pocket. Let's talk about posing. So you're a posing coach, as we talked about, and a pro, of course. So how important is posing? And like, do you get your clients to practice often? Like, what would you recommend for amateurs to be practicing? How often?
Posing is an art. So it's like anything. If you want to be a master at it, you've got to put a lot of hours into the practice. I always say to my girls, you can't practice until you get it right. You've got to practice until you can't get it wrong. Like it's got to be so ingrained in you that you don't even have to think about what you're doing, because that's how you're going to keep it on stage when you're nervous and all of the other stuff that's going on the actual day, right? Obviously, posing is hugely important. So you could literally have the best physique out on the stage, but if you are not showing it in the best way for the criteria, then unfortunately you're not going to get, your potential in terms of the sport if you can't present yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important, right? And I feel like it's only getting more important as like everyone gets more competitive. But are you taking on clients for posing? Is that something else you've got capacity for at the moment?
Yeah, I always have capacity for posing clients. I do prefer working with clients for prep and posing, like the whole thing, because it's all connected. And I love being part of that journey of building the body and the mind and then presenting it on stage. So yeah, like I'm always happy to open my doors for posing clients, but I love being part of the whole journey.
Yeah, 100%. And you get to take over the whole lot. And it's just like it's like nice for the client too, to have one person to go to for.
To have it all. I mean, it's literally all connected, if you have someone doing training and someone doing nutrition, it's all can be really quite disjointed and not able to make everything be in harmony to get the best result, right?
And you want it cohesive if you're going to be in prep. If you don't have many brain cells, you need it to be easy. Do you see many I hate the word mistakes, but that's probably the right word for it. But do you see a lot of these types of like errors and mistakes on the stage with posing, or anything you see on our New Zealand stage quite a bit?
I mean, in terms of posing for the bikini division, it's all about creating that balanced, symmetrical hourglass. You want to show your smallest waist. You want to show width at your glutes. You want to show the maximum width at your shoulders. So, like little mistakes that people make to not show their shoulders the whole way, like they've got one shoulder back and they're not setting square on and like actually creating that width for themselves. Often see girls like with their hips lopsided or things are wonky or like they're really pushing into their glutes to try and make the glutes look better, but then the whole alignment's kind of off. And sometimes that can make your waist look quite a lot wider as well. So I'm really big on like step one, get everything like balanced, aligned, stacked one on top of the other, and then add that the details of like the arms and the beautiful movements that stitch it all together. You definitely see people sometimes focusing on like the fancy hair flick or the big nice arms, when like the structure itself isn't quite there yet. That's probably the main things that I like critique when I'm watching.
Yeah, and of course you would, just as a coach, you just pick up on things, right? But do you think nerves are a big thing, or do you?
Sorry, just like where someone could change something that will improve them, right? Or create a better hourglass, or show their physique off better.
Yeah, because you see in a lineup, you're like, man, if she just did this, she would look killer. Like, it's just a little thing, but it would just change the game, especially move you up. Like if it could change your placing, it's huge. But do you think it's nerves, or do you think it's just not confidence in practice, or a bit of both maybe?
I think it's a combination of like having the right coaching to actually know what you should be doing, and like on the day, sometimes when you are nervous, like the routine goes out the window, or like you have a sort of brain malfunction and like do something that wasn't quite what you had been practicing. And like a bunch of my girls had that this year, but like almost everyone does. And I always say, like, I'm the only one who knows your routine, me and you, like me as the coach and you as the athlete, we know what you're supposed to do. So if you muck up, don't do like a big, oh my gosh, face. And like, play it cool, carry on. But yeah, definitely that's the key, is like practicing so much that can't happen, right? And like by the time you've done a bunch of shows, like the more times you're on stage, the better you get at doing exactly what you intend out there, because you're not like suddenly a bit nervous or like really shaky, or what things that can happen when you're new.
Yeah, you can kind of fall back onto like your autopilot, hey, and just kind of do what you normally do, and it's like, okay, I'll try that. Have you made any mistakes on stage, or like have you had any, like, you hear about it, people like stacking it and stuff, and oh my god, and you've been on stage so much, have you had any kind of little trips or little issues or anything like that?
Not any real major ones. When I competed at the Bikini International in my last season, we were on like a makeshift stage, and it was like made of like platforms, and one of the platforms that like I stepped on, I think it was like as I was turning from the side to the back, was like slightly moved like this, so I was like but like what can you do, man? Like you're on a bit of wood that's not stable. But yeah, that wasn't ideal. But no, I think I definitely had like those nerves, or like in your first few shows you look at your photos and you're like, oh, I didn't quite nail that angle. Like this is not quite the right angle for what the judges are looking at, or whatever. But you learn from all of those, and it gets better and better.
Yeah, nice, babe. Love that. Not too many crazy stacks, which is good. Everyone fears it, don't they? But it's good that it didn't happen for you.
No, I have seen people fall over on stage, and that would be like quite traumatizing, I think.
Absolutely. I'd be so scared. I wouldn't want to get back up there, but they do, so that's good. Let's talk about reverse diet. So many of our girls and athletes in general are doing reverse diets. You've probably seen everyone posting about it. I'm struggling, blah, blah, blah. Everyone does every year. It's like no one knew it was coming. But do you have any tips for them? Did you ever struggle with your reverse diets? Did you like fuck up a lot, like everybody does? But like, did you struggle with it? And do you have any tips for people that are like, I'm struggling, I'm dying?
It's definitely a phase of the journey that can be really challenging, and unfortunately, it's a phase where if people have like any issues in their relationship with food, or maybe they've struggled with like some form of like disordered eating or something in the past, you're quite vulnerable often post-show for that to rear its head, right? And like I had an eating disorder for 8 years before I started competing, so that was always something I had to be really mindful of, that I was always like in control of myself, if you like, in regards to food, and making sure that if I was feeling certain emotions, or having challenging experiences which would encourage me to lose control around food, that I was self-aware enough to stop myself and shift my energy so as to not do that. But I think it's always a really challenging time for competitors. You've gone from like having this really intense focus where often it's really easy to stick to the structure of like, I can only do this for this long, and then It's like, oh, but after this, I can do whatever I want. And sometimes that can be like overwhelming for people, like the food noise, some of my clients call it. And not everyone struggles with that, but I think it's definitely a very real struggle for some people. Ultimately, everyone's journey is different, and I think it's really important that you're able to carry forward with you the positive things from the experience of bodybuilding, like whether you're going to do it again or not. Like, you're still going to move your body regularly. You still should nourish your body with good food. You still need something that you do just for yourself, like that kind of personal evolution quality of bodybuilding that's really important. And if you carry all of those things forward whilst also finding that right balance that allows for like sustainability, because you're able to have like social connections and normal life stuff that prep doesn't allow for, I feel like there's a successful recipe in being able to find the right balance of all of those things. And I guess the really important thing is like having a coach who is actually able and wants to help you navigate that part as well. And sometimes it's really important to have that person that you can get the support from that you need.
100%. Like, don't fire your coach. A lot of people do just let go of their coach after show day, and it's like, oh my God, that's so scary. Like, keep them on, you know. Do you normally stick with your clients for like at least a couple of weeks after show just to like start that process with them if they're keen to do that?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, I'd say work with a coach year round if you're seriously, invested in improving as a bodybuilder, because the whole year round counts, right? Even if you're only doing like regionals and nationals each year, it's the time in the improvement season where you actually improve your physique. So, particularly if you're wanting to compete again, there's obviously some best practices that you'd wanting to be following after a show around, getting your body back to a more balanced state so you can recover and your things can repair and you can grow muscle. So, eating more, getting up to at least maintenance calories and like bringing cardio down so that you're not wasting a bunch of energy on the Stairmaster. All of that's really important so that you can maximize your improvement season. If someone's not looking to compete again, it's really about moving forward to find a healthy balance of something that they can keep doing that's going to keep adding positively to their life, but not kind of getting hooked on doing heaps all the time, like training 5 days, doing cardio 6 days for the whole year. Things are going to start going wrong with your body if you're doing that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone could benefit from having the right sort of coach, definitely the sort of coach who wants to help you learn and grow, not just tell you what to do, but like actually having real solid support there to find what's best for you, I think is important.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. And I like how you said about being grateful for what you can do now. And like, you've got all these extras that you wanted for like 20 weeks and now you've got them. So be happy about that and be grateful for your body. I feel like this is something that people don't think about. Like, you've put your body through an absolute fucking nightmare. Like, if you don't understand how the body works, you just think, oh, it's fine. Like, no, your body's dying. Like, you're starving to death. And then you go and like, you reverse and then you eat a couple of chocolates, then you hate yourself for it. It just doesn't make sense to me, like your body's done so much for you, got you to that. You need to be grateful for what it's done and then treat it kindly on the way back. Like, but you have to understand the body to have that mindset, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, bodybuilding is, I wouldn't say it's a healthy sport. It's obviously an extreme sport, but the foundations that underlie it are healthy. And that's about, to me as a coach, I'm always wanting clients to prep in the most healthy way possible. Like, put their body through the least shit they can if they want to do it. And also going into your improvement season is part of how you make sure you do that by, getting to it, building your metabolism up and all of that stuff. But there's also like issues with people and their emotions and their relationship with food being too intertwined, right? And really struggling with like guilt around eating anything that's not like on the plan and for that reason, I really try and like educate my clients so they're not following a plan, because a plan is not sustainable. And I like my clients to really have a full comprehensive understanding even of nutrition so that they can like be empowered to go out into the world and eat food that they enjoy and like, and also make it tick the boxes for what their body needs, what their mind needs, etc., etc.
Love that. I love that so much. And also how you've come out of like an eating disorder. That's cool, really cool as well. I went through something similar right through my 20s. A lot of bulimia, a lot of binge eating, a lot of trigger warning, but a lot of that going on. And I feel I was recovered when I started bodybuilding, which I really do think you need to do as an individual. But it's only helped me. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's helped me realize, oh, you need to fuel your body. Oh, you need to eat food. Oh, you need protein. It really taught me about, you know, food and fueling your body, even though it sounds like it wouldn't because you go through such extreme dieting. But do you feel like it did help you in that sense? Did bodybuilding kind of like train you in different ways to think about nutrition, or was it a little bit like touch and go for a bit?
Yeah, so like I struggled with bulimia and binge eating, same as you, before I got into bodybuilding. And it's definitely not like this for everyone, but for me, bodybuilding gave me like a positive purpose to like my relationship with food, my relationship with exercise, actually turning that into something positive, which it wasn't before. It was a coping mechanism for other things that weren't going well in my life. So yeah, I feel like all of the knowledge that I built and the relationship that I built with my body in the process of competing was like important and powerful in being able to recover. I also, you know, went from being a lawyer to running a business of helping women. Like I literally wanted to not have women go through what I had gone through in my relationship with my body, with food, all of that. And that, I guess, purpose out in the world of helping people to not suffer the way I did was a big motivator as well.
Yeah, that's so cool, babe. I'm so happy you're doing that. And it's just such a nice thing to be a part of that journey for other women too, because you've been through it, you know how it feels. And it's just nice to be there for others. Like it's just a full circle, full circle, learning and going through the shit so you can help others through it too. Only the strong survive. Let's talk about something that I want to talk about with you, because I haven't talked about this on the pod yet, but I feel like it's very important. I want to talk about inappropriate coaches, because doing the podcast, done it for 2 years now, done 70, nearly 75 episodes. I've talked to a lot of people about coaches, heard a whole bunch of crazy shit along the way. And I just know that there's a few out there that just aren't, they just maybe shouldn't be necessarily coaching. And let's just be straight about it. But I want to talk to you about not calling everyone out. We're not going to name names. I want to talk to you about how you pick a good coach, what you should look for in a coach, and maybe red flags and stuff like that. Would you be happy to dive into that sort of a topic?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Like, honestly, as a coach and a person, I do just stay in my own lane a lot. I'm not like really focused on what other people are doing. I'm focused on being a good coach. So I'm not really in amongst it with like but obviously I've been around in the industry for a long time. So like I know a lot of people and I've worked with a lot of clients. As a coach, I'm someone who wants to empower my clients through knowledge. Like I actually want them to learn and grow and understand, and really like take a lot away from the experience. Like let's say they're competing, you're not going to compete forever, but there's so much that you learn in the journey of competing that can be like pillars in a really like fulfilling and sustainable, abundant life, you know, moving forward out of that. I know that a lot of clients that have come to me in the past have struggled with coaches who don't want to help them learn and understand, like just sort of want to like send them the plans and say, this is what I want you to do, but like don't want to take that extra step of like the knowledge. And look, maybe some people just want that kind of approach to coaching, but I'm really about like, sharing the whole journey with clients so that they are taking so much more away from it. I think it's so important that you're able to work with a coach who you feel like you have it like an open, trusting relationship with, like you can share, you know, everything, because at the end of the day, like the journey of bodybuilding requires like everything, like every sort of aspect of your life has to be like, you know, cohesive and all working together for it to go well. So I think, you know, you really want someone who can be like in the passenger seat with you on the journey, like feel like they're really on your team. And yeah, I think that element of trust is so important, and that someone who's professional is of course like really important. your clients are putting a lot of their life in your hands as a coach. So I think it's so important as a coach to respect that. And
yeah, I think that's really cool. But those are good. Like trust is a huge one. Probably like communication is too, from both parts. Like if you're not comfortable as a client, like you need to be okay to be like, hey, I'm not maybe okay about this, and communication the other way. You do hear about coaches that don't respond to their clients for a long time. That's something I've had to deal with in the past, and I didn't speak my mind on it because I thought, is this the way it's done? And then you kind of like learn. But if something seems off, it probably is off. Like it probably, like, ask questions. I feel like it's definitely a thing to do. And I especially feel this way about women. I feel like women, especially in bodybuilding, we know how far bodybuilding's come, but it did start off very just a strange environment for women, and it was kind of sexualized and all that shit, whatever. We've come a long way. Watch the documentary if you want to know about it. But and also coaches, just sometimes the inappropriate nature of male coaches to females, I get really conscious about that just because of previous experiences and things like that. So if there's anything, if any of you women are experiencing like anything that just seems a little off, seems a little weird, seems a little inappropriate, ask questions or talk to someone else. This is probably the only time it's good to have a different posing coach to a prep coach. Ask your posing coach, is this probably how this should be going? Or should I be doing this with my coach or that? Have you had any red flags from a coach in the past, babe? Or like just in nature, like just competing? Have you ever had like just weird things happen to you?
I haven't personally had any like sort of dodgy or questionable experiences, but definitely like you hear about it out and about there. So I would be very quick to question things if I didn't feel sort of like safe or like, should this be happening? I definitely think women are more vulnerable to that than men, like females being coached by males. But I don't know, I guess as a woman, I feel like I would prefer a female coach mostly for that reason. But I think if you're seeing red flags, call them out.
Yeah, call them out. Like, just bring it up. Like, I mean, they're probably going to give you an answer and there could be an explanation. So I just wanted to touch on that. You just want to make sure everyone's feeling safe and looked after, and like you can trust your coach. And that should be number one. If you can't trust your coach, get out. Like, there's too many coaches in the world that you can relate to. So just wanted to touch on that. And if you guys have anything that that's resonated with you in this conversation, you can always DM me at any time and DM the podcast page. Always happy to talk to you guys about that stuff if you have any questions, or if you're like, is this a red flag? We can chat about it. Let's move on to a couple of random questions that I just want to ask you for fun. What's your favorite bikini color? Because you've done so many, but like, what was there a favorite that you wore, or is there one that you didn't wear that you'd like to wear one day?
I think my light blue, like the Ice Queen look, I think that was my favorite and like my signature. I wore it for the first time when I won the Orlando Pro, which was my Olympia ticket for my first Olympia. And I also wore it when I won the New York Pro. So obviously the judges like it as well. I think not many people can wear like a light blue like that. So I needed to have like the warm skin tone that I have and stuff to make it like work. And it was obviously quite unique and like my signature. So that was definitely my favorite.
I love that. I think it definitely is like the Sheena color. Like as when you
wear it again as well. I think if I was going to do another hurrah, I think that's my color.
100%. It definitely is. It would be weird if you popped out in like a green. I'd be like, what? Don't do that. What's your favorite post-show meal, or what did you used to want to have every time you got off, or was it different? Like what was your favorite?
I'm a big froyo fan, so like when I was in the States, like froyo was like right up there on post-show treats. But also like usually on show day you've eaten a lot of carbs, and I would often just feel like a giant chicken salad with like lots of fresh stuff, right? Yeah.
I love that. Are you a sweets person too though? Like were you like, a froyo's a sweet, but were you like into like the donuts or anything, or was it just like, nah, too many carbs all day, I don't want to have it?
No, I never really felt like that sort of thing after a show. Sorry. Cut that bit. I'll start again from the start. Where was I at just then?
Oh wait, sweets after a show?
Yeah, cool. I'll just start talking again from now.
Yeah.
I'm not really like a major donuts person. So I was always pretty good at kind of having my froyo and then getting back to eating clean. And yeah, usually after the whole day of carbs on show day, like I'm really just craving, more chicken salads and like all that fresh healthy stuff that I would be eating on prep.
Yeah, and missing out on the veggies in peak week and stuff. You're like, I want some veggies and some water and some other food. And last question, what's your favorite thing about competing in bodybuilding? What fills you up from that?
Absolutely, the personal growth, like the journey that you have to go on as a person to become the type of person that can compete. And I mean, obviously, I did a hell of a lot of it, so I was just literally on a constant journey of becoming stronger, more resilient, evolving as an individual. And I think if you're not getting that from bodybuilding, then it's maybe not for you, right? And it's not like that for everyone. Sometimes it's not a healthy sort of addiction, so to speak. But I just really thrived in the way that I evolved and grew from what it took to do that.
Oh, that's cool. I love that reason. It's just so much more than like getting on the stage, it gives us a little bit more depth. And that's so cool. It's been so good to get to know you a bit more today, Shane. Like we know who each other are, and I've known you for a long time, but I've never been able to like get into your head and talk to you a lot. And it's just really good to unpack it all. And I'd love to speak to you again, especially if you're going to compete, we'll definitely chat about that. But just in another year's time and just see how everything's going, how motherhood for two is. Would you be keen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll come back and talk to you sometime soon.
Nice, babe. Awesome. And keep us updated if anything happens in the future. We're all Sheena fans. We want to know what you're doing. We want to see the Ice Queen back, getting up there. But it's been great to chat to you, babe. If everyone out there, don't forget to like and subscribe to all of that stuff. Follow Sheena. Her links are all in the description below. And if you want to get in touch with coaching, do it now. Don't sleep. Do it now for next season. Next year's too late. And we'll talk to you soon, Sheena. It's been so great. Thank you for coming on.
Amazing. Thank you for having me, Shannon. And I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.